What it is, Brad Lee back again with another episode of Dropping Bombs. Today in the studio, folks, as always, I got a real treat for you. Dan Martell in the house. That's why my glasses are on.
I saw that. I was like, I've never seen you with the glasses.
Well, we got to put on the glasses to raise up the intellect.
There we go.
Because Dan Martell's in the studio.
I'll take it.
You're not just some schlub.
Nope.
Dan Martell, folks. By the way, a lot of you, I'm sure, have heard of him. If you haven't already, you can find him at Dan Martell, just like it sounds, Martell on Instagram. And TikTok, Dan Martell. Dan V.
That's Victor. It's my dad.
Dan Victor Martell.
Yeah, domain was taken. Somebody must have got there before I showed up.
Okay, so Dan V. Martell. Go follow him, though, or read his books, or watch him, because the dude's been everywhere. He's an entrepreneur, angel investor, thought leader, software founder. Did you exit that software company?
3 companies.
What was the very first
one? First one would have been Spheric Technologies. Did that 2004 to 2008.
And what would you, when you exited, what'd you get?
That number, I've never shared it publicly, but it was around 8 million.
Now, did you have money up until then or no?
No, dude, poor.
Because like this company, like it makes money, right? So
yeah, I can tell.
No, but I mean, it makes money. So like I have money because I make money. And so it makes me money. Now, if someone came along and bought this and handed me,
a bunch of cash,
10 to 12 times EBITDA,
yeah,
let's say.
Or top line, SaaS, you're in software, man.
Well,
I know the numbers.
If it's top line,
let's go strategic.
If it's top line, brother, we're talking big money.
Dude, that's what I do.
Okay, well, I'd frickin' sign the line, which is dotted right now. 20-year-old company, frickin' growth every year, over year. Why? Because my clients grow, so I grow. Even if I don't grow, I grow. But anyway, long story short, if someone came and paid me out on that, like, dude, then I'd have real money. So 8 million, is that real money?
Yeah. That was
Did that change your life?
It changed my life in a lot of ways. The first one was, it was the first time I never had to worry about money. I think when you're building companies, like I became a millionaire when I was 27. So I built this company, but like I grew up, literally my mom was an alcoholic, ended up in prison twice by the time I was 17.
You did?
Yeah. Yeah. Learning to write code was
you can't be in prison if you're under 17.
They called it juvenile detention the first place. And then the second place was an adult prison just because of the severity of my crime. So I was in a cell block.
Damn.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in prison at 17.
No, it was a juvenile division of the adult prison. So I wasn't there with adults, but yeah, it was definitely not a place you want to be.
Or allegedly?
Allegedly, no. This is public, and I had to work with lawyers recently because I was working on some visa stuff, and because I've talked about it publicly, it's on the internets. But
what visa stuff? Are you from Canada or something?
Yeah, I'm Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell by the accent.
A?
You know why they say A after everything?
No.
It's the way the country's spelled. Spell the country.
Canada. Fuck, that's so good.
Canada.
Oh, this is good.
So you're Canadian trying to be a U.S. citizen?
No, I was working on getting my visa. We spent the winters in San Diego for a long time.
I was going to say, because most U.S. citizens are now trying to be Canadian.
Yeah, I know. They're coming up. Yeah. No, I was hanging out with guys in like the Hells Angels, the motorcycle gangs. Ooh. Yeah. Moving drugs, guns, violence.
Hells Angels are no joke.
No, it's like
when I was growing up, there were the Free Souls and the Hells Angels.
Yeah.
And I had aunts. One aunt would hang out with the Free Souls and one aunt would hang out with the Hells Angels. So I'd go around as a little kid and I'd see Hells Angels and Free Souls. And even though they were nice dudes, they were not messing around.
Dude, I saw this one guy, Scott. I'm at his house and there's a big party going on, a bonfire, and he grabs his own dog, sits down at the fire and shoots it.
Why?
Crazy. Just crazy. Ugh. Like, this is what people don't understand is like, I grew up seeing that level of just craziness.
Well, you don't look like that, dude. You look like a goody two-shoes.
Dude, and if you meet my family, I got 2 awesome kids and a wife, and my dad and my mom are like some of my best friends, but that was just my reality growing up. And then learn how to code in rehab.
Now, this book isn't your first book.
It is.
It is?
Yeah, I waited.
So buy back your time, get unstuck, reclaim your freedom, and build your empire.
Yeah.
That's out right now because I'm holding it.
Number 2 Wall Street Journal best-selling book right behind Atomic Habits.
No kidding.
It sold 26,000 copies in 5 weeks.
Dude.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a groundswell going.
You got some great testimonials on the back. You know everybody that I know. I've heard about you for 1,000 years. Never met you until now.
No, this is fun.
But dude, I always wanted to meet you because dude, you already did what I'm wanting to do. I want to exit eventually, and I wanted to pick your brain to say like, if I just handed you this and said, hey, you can have half, get the most for it, like you'd probably be able to do things I wouldn't even know to do
in no time.
Let's go. Let's make a deal.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing is most people don't realize about software is the name of the game is revenue retention. So what revenue retention means is, when you start off, you have 10 customers and you might have 10% churn on an annual basis. Well, that's not a big deal. It's one customer out of 10. But at some point when you have hundreds of customers, let's say 1,000 customers, 10%'s 100 people. So that's what's called the growth ceiling. So a lot of people don't understand. This is true for any business. It's just more predominant in software because of the subscription reoccurring nature. So all buyers look for what's called your revenue retention number. So is it 100%? Is it 120%? The gold standard is 130%. So the first thing I would do is like work through your books to figure out what's your revenue retention at. And then from there, figure out what problem do we have to solve. Do we have to solve a logo churn problem? Do we have to focus on the product suite and the upsells? Do we have to focus on the market we're going after and the positioning we're doing? But honestly, the cool part is those are only the 3 levers that we can pull, right? Like if you can figure out either how to position your product so that you can go up market, you have a product suite that allows you to sell more stuff to people, or you can reduce the amount of people that leave to go to your competitors or whatever. That's how you increase your revenue retention. Yeah.
Well, again, don't you get a visa if you worked here?
So I was going for the investor visa. So I actually have had several visas over the years because I used to live in San Francisco. So I built 2 software companies in the Valley. And then right before COVID, my wife and I we decided to move to San Diego because we just spent a lot of time there over the winter months. And COVID was kind of Canada. I don't know if you knew, but it turned into a communist country. So we couldn't do a whole lot in Canada. And we ended up traveling to the West Coast to a place called Kelowna, BC. Have you ever been to BC? Vancouver?
Yeah, yeah, Vancouver.
Yeah. So inland, though, in the mountains, there's this crazy place that's got...
No, I'm sorry, Victoria.
Yeah. So Victoria is like the Florida of Canada. It's one of the warmest areas. But Kelowna is pretty much a number 2. And it's just like on a lake in the mountains. It's like if Tahoe had a town of 200,000 people. And we just fell in love. So we took a bit of a detour.
And what's that called?
Kelowna, BC, the Napa of the North. We have 200 wineries, some of the best golfing, mountain ranges, lake life. So we wake surf every day.
You live there?
I live right there on the top of a mountain.
Lucky.
Yeah. Beautiful place.
Probably a kick-ass house.
Very beautiful house.
And no worries?
I mean, I don't have worries because I wouldn't have worries even if I had nothing. But yeah, no worries.
Yeah. Well, dude, I'm just trying to show people how to get to no worries.
Well, that's the new real brand stuff you've been doing, which I love. I love the idea of like actually branding a word. I've been talking about that recently. Ryan Panetta and I talked yesterday because he's doing the wealth stuff. The Wealthy Way. Is it Wealthy Way? Yeah. I don't have a word. I need a word.
I'll help you come up with one. Yeah. Dude, you help me with this, I'll help you with whatever.
Dude.
Like, I'll tell you, I'll help you however I can help you. Not that you need the help, but I definitely lend all my resources to help you if you just lend all your resources to help me. Because, dude, I'm telling you right now, dude, if you ran this place right here, we'd already be 10 times bigger. We'd probably already be exited for $1 billion. The technology here is so unbelievable. People have no clue until they talk to me about it and actually see it. And then they're like, damn, I had no idea. You know, it's like, but hey, whatever. Go to Kajabi. Kajabi, I always say, dude, you go to them if you want a hand Kajabi. Okay, maybe a blow Kajabi, but not a training system. Like that, it ain't a training system. But anyway, the reason I'm saying it is because it's a software at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you'd have to talk to Jason, but you look under the hood and you'd be like, dude, all you guys got to do is bang, 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 bang. But I always like tell myself that someone else would be able to do better than me. It's my way of almost self-deprecating.
It's sabotage. I actually talk about it in the book.
It's
the 3
sabotage.
S's. Yeah. Sell, sabotage, or stall. And
yeah, because in reality, dude, like I always say to myself as a joke, man, dude, if I came in and bought this place, fuck, I know exactly what I'd do. And then they're like, well, why don't you do it? Because you do own the place. And I'm like, because I feel bad. They've been here 10 years. That's been here for 4 years. No one's ever figured out that, and should have, but I haven't held them accountable. So it's like back to Jocko Willink, only bad leaders, bro. But I'm talking in the past.
Yeah.
I've since made changes.
You've stepped up.
Yeah, now we're starting to rock and roll.
What do you think? Is it a fear of having more to manage?
No, it was just a fear of laziness, I think.
Okay.
Not a fear of laziness, but just being lazy.
That's kind of a fear of managing more.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't afraid of it, just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not afraid of it. I'm not afraid of
thing.
a turd, but I also don't want one. But yeah, dude, you've already done that. How many companies? 3 that you've exited?
I've started 5, exited 3. I actively run 2 8-figure companies as CEO.
What are those companies called?
High Speed Ventures and SaaS Academy. So SaaS Academy is the largest CEO coaching group for software CEOs in the world.
Oh, really? Right on. So if there's other software CEOs listening, that's kind of like a mastermind or something?
Yeah, I don't use the word mastermind because I think a lot of people have been to masterminds and we do it completely different. But like we have a lot of mutual friends like, Devin from Connected. He's a client. There's so many. Yeah, anybody in software, I've worked with them. Oh, like the ClickFunnels guys, Todd and Russell to, Alex from Hyros. He just exited for 110 million. So I've coached Alex. Layla and Alex Hermosi, I know you've had on the show. So they had a product called Alan. So I coached them.
That's right.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do.
That's right. So then I can just hire you for coaching.
You could, but I'm the kind of guy that like for folks at your level, Brad, like I'll just come in, have the team look at stuff, give you the answers. Like I don't care. Like it's kind of weird. I don't care.
You're like me, dude. I bet you have fun with most of your.
I don't work with people I wouldn't have fun. Like, we were talking about Keith, our mutual friend Yaki, and like you made me laugh in that green room the same way he does. Just the shit you say is just hilarious. So I think we'd have a lot of fun.
Well, Keith likes to masturbate apparently. You see his latest video?
No, I cannot watch his Instagram because I mentioned my wife and him don't see eye to eye on a few things. So
it's the swinging part, right?
No, it's. I think if you asked her, I'd want her to speak for herself, but it's just a lot of stuff, the cultural appropriation, she would say, about some of the stuff he does, or the misogyny, or the
like his latest video basically says,
I didn't see it.
And since you're on it, because he loves you, he's going to be listening.
Oh yeah.
So
he was pumped to hear this.
His video, his recent video was him talking about, I tell people all the time, I'm going to go whack off basically. And I'm paraphrasing. And it's freeing to be able to say I whack off and not care that because most people would never tell people they whack off. I'm thinking, who doesn't fucking whack off? Who doesn't?
It's like saying
there ain't nobody on earth. If someone says I don't whack off, they're fucking lying to you.
Yeah.
So, but Keith, that's the video that he whacks off. So what are you thinking about when he's talking to? So Keith Yaki whacking off. And I'm like, come on, Keith. Because whatever you say, believe it or not, we have visual minds. If I say, don't think of a gorilla jumping on a floor, you're going to think of a gorilla jumping on a floor.
You have to.
So if I say, yeah, and I was freaking rocking her, I was just drilling her, you guys would be picturing this big old dick drilling a girl, right? That's what you would picture if someone told you that. Hey, I took a shit right on the top of the car. You're going to picture someone squatting and shitting on a car. So when he says he masturbates, cool. So does everybody. But now you got me picturing.
Now I can't unsee it.
Gross.
But I will say this because I've talked to him.
Keith.
I will say what I do admire about him and many others and you'd be in the same category that speak their mind. And he said this to me once. He said the man who walks into a room with no secrets is the freest man in the room. And I thought that was.
I'll give him a bomb by proxy.
There we go.
Even though that was Keith's bomb.
Keith gets a lot of them. I mean, Keith's actually taught me to be an incredible husband. He talks about being the catch of the county, right?
The catch of the what?
The county. I think because
he
rhymes.
Watches too many Hallmark movies.
It just rhymes too much. But he talks about being a provider and a partner and a player and dating your wife. Like, whether my wife has a hard time with some of the language he uses, like. He absolutely has.
She's not going to like me now because of that whole rendition.
It is what it is.
Sorry, what's her name?
Renee.
Sorry, Renee. You got to.
It's what it is.
Yeah, you got to come meet me first.
Yeah.
Reserve your opinion until you meet me in person.
And I think that's the part I just, I'm kind of. I love everybody, call me crazy. And I know sometimes my team's like, why are you doing this thing with this person? And it's just like, I don't have to believe everything they say just because I'm friends with them. Like just because they say something doesn't mean that I believe that. And there's parts like 80% of it's awesome. I'm just going to lean into it. And I'm always trying to find the thing I can learn from somebody, no matter, what their background. I think too often people are triggered and shut down from opportunities to learn from. It's like when I saw Ty Lopez, right? Like I'll admit to it. I was like, oh, I don't ever want to do that. Like I have a message, I want to get it out, but I'm not going to do that. Well, nobody said I had to do that. Nobody said I had to start with here in my garage and show my McLaren or whatever. It was just like, and then I saw Brendan Burchard and I was like, oh, here's a guy that gets incredible results, has a huge platform, but does it in a way that's a little bit more tasteful. So like, but should I learn how to do YouTube ads? Should I not do YouTube because I don't want to be known as the guy, right? Like I find that
I don't know you from YouTube.
No, but I have almost 100,000 subs on YouTube. It's not.
And those are hard to get, dude.
It is one of the things, 7 years, every Monday I publish every week without missing a week ever. And when I get that silver platter, and I don't even know, silver platter plaque, I don't even know if they give them away anymore.
They do. I just got one.
Okay, perfect. Because I will celebrate that probably more than any other business accomplishment in my life.
They're hard to get, those YouTubers.
Dude, I've been hustling.
I just hired, not hired, it was already my team, but I just assigned a team on to YouTube
just
specifically.
YouTube.
Yeah, I want to blow it up.
I would love to have them share notes. I'll help you with Lightspeed on the software stuff, and you can help my team on. Yeah, YouTube is just, and I think it's my content. My team tells us all the time. Is like, you guys, you don't talk to the beginner. Like Hermosi and Layla have done an incredible job of like being sophisticated, but doing a better job of like speaking to the person that's just starting.
Yeah.
I'm always talking to the 8-figure entrepreneur. Like it's just my happy
I'm
place.
talking to, who am I talking to? Blue collar worker?
I think the Howard Stern fan.
See, what's funny about this is like I always say, I'm talking to the blue collar
yeah,
workers.
Same guy that listens to Howard Stern.
I'm talking
They're
to the guy
listening to
that's
you.
going to work every day. And so one time I had a guy come in here and he was selling this $20,000 program and whatnot, and I'm like, he's like, yeah, maybe a lot of your people will call me and buy it. And I thought to myself, probably not. Like it's 20 grand. That's a lot of dough.
Yeah, my audience don't have money.
Yeah, my audience ain't gonna buy nothing for 20 grand.
Yeah.
And dude, he did like $1.5 million when the episode dropped.
Oh snap.
Yeah, 20 grand. That's not that many, but still $1.5 million total. That's a great episode.
Yeah.
And I thought, damn, dude, I got people that are following me with 20 G's, multiple ones apparently. And so I started to change. And next thing you know, I say, hey, let me put on an event here. And I didn't tell them anyone was coming. It was just me, Bradley, come to my Real Success event, even though I did have people coming. I didn't say it though. I didn't use those to sell any tickets.
Yeah.
And I sold like 80 at $6,000 a pop.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then they all showed up and the speakers that, pitch from stage and, go to these things. Number one said, dude, how do you get so many fucking real people in a room? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, dude, you got freaking a lot of people out there with businesses and employees. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
They're listeners.
But so what do you do with that kind of audience? If someone's built that audience, what would you do if you were me?
Yeah, I mean, it depends what you want to do with your life, because it's obviously showing up and playing that part if it's not who you are. Like if you're an introvert and that takes energy, I would tell you not to do anything with it, right? Some people like...
I'm not an introvert.
No, you're not. What should you do with it?
I'm looking for less things to do, not more things to do.
Well, I've seen you do some really smart things, I think. I'm reading between the lines with like the opportunities. You have a lot of people that are like, I think you're doing solar, you're doing the insurance.
I'm showing people how to get out of the rat race.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's that early stage person. But I think there's people that have means that are further along in their entrepreneurial journey. Here's what you have that I think we all admire, and some of us don't even realize what it is you and all the people we admire are 100% yourself. And I will tell you that's taken me 20 some years to get to, where
there's another ball.
We take a long time to learn. I used to wear a suit and tie. When I built my first software company, suit and tie every day for 4 years. Okay. I haven't put on a suit other than maybe when I got married. Like I just refuse. I will not wear a button shirt anymore.
I always say married or buried.
Married.
Married or buried is when I'll wear a suit. Other than that, I'm not wearing one.
Don't wear it. Yeah. No. And I think it's just the most inspiring thing any person could do is be authentically themselves. So all these people that have money, yes, they have financial wealth. They just don't have freedom to be themselves. So they admire you for that. And that's why they show up.
Deep down, do they show it in the form of hate?
There are those, but here's the thing with haters is that they're still paying attention. That's funny? What is funny. They like, the trollers, they make me laugh because it's like, if you really didn't care, why are you leaving a comment? Like I have zero angst when somebody leaves a dumb comment like, oh, you misspelled this or you did this. And I'm just like, I find it fascinating of all the things you could be doing with your time. You left a comment on my content, right? But you're still paying attention, and eventually I'll get you.
Yeah. So now all of these accomplishments that you've done so far, because again, there's a list. I made a few notes here. There's a list. You raised like $1.6 million in 7 days or something crazy.
Yeah, that was Clarity.
Is that just calling a bunch of friends?
Yeah, I mean, I'd already built a company before that called Flowtown and exited that. So you make money for investors are usually a little bit more receptive the second time around. But yeah, I mean, But you had a network of people with money. Yeah, Mark Cuban was one of our investors. He wrote 250.
Now when you got 1.6 million in the bank because you raised it, what was the plan for that money?
So Clarity was a marketplace for entrepreneurs to get advice over the phone. It was essentially if LinkedIn had a call button. I just saw this like huge trend on social media and none of them could monetize. So if you have an audience, some percent of that audience will pay you. So now you have, what are these sites that pay you to do like voice messages and, for celebrities and stuff? There's like, I forget what they're called. Cameo. Like Cameo kind of figured out that model.
You know what I did on Cameo? I just put like $500 so people, wouldn't do it.
Shut up. They wouldn't do it for 500.
And they do it.
Of course they would. They would do it for probably 1,000. Yeah. No, most Clarity calls I didn't I'm like $5,000 an hour on Clarity because just, buy back your time. I know what my time's worth. And
no, I'm talking about, dude, the cameos that are like, hey, happy birthday, Jeremy.
Yeah, it takes 6 minutes to do or not even.
Yeah. You're talking about calls with an entrepreneur that has some experience that you can actually talk to and ask questions.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. Yours is more entertainment than education.
100%.
But yeah, so that was Clarity, which was a super fun company to build out. What was unique about that situation, because I know a lot of people are starting off, is I had sold the company Flowtown. We were working at the acquirers, and I just couldn't stop thinking about this idea. And I would stay up because I called my lawyer, Josh, and I said, Josh, I'm working on this new idea. I want to like make sure that I don't get in trouble. He's like, don't do it on their laptops. Like we don't want a Winklevoss or, Facebook scenario. Like
how'd you find Josh, a good lawyer?
Oh, Gunderson. He worked at Gunderson.
You talking about the financial dude?
No, that's Garrett Gunderson.
Oh yeah.
No. Josh was a lawyer in the Valley, in Silicon Valley. He, how did I find him? Referred through a friend.
Because when people always ask me, Brad, how do I get rich? I'm like, listen, I don't know. There's a lot of ways to get rich, but I do know once you're rich, you better have a good lawyer.
Oh yeah.
Better have a good lawyer.
Good finance tax team.
Better have a good CPA.
Yeah.
So like there's certain things that once you have money, you have. And I've always wanted to maybe teach people, how do you find those people? But
yeah, it's like they're called family offices. And most people don't realize that there's a financial team you should have. Because one of my mentors said to me once, he said, it's easy to make money, it's hard to keep it. And he gave me some incredible advice. First time I sold my company, he said, take half and put that away. That you don't fuck with that. That half is for the future. The other half, that's go do your next crazy thing. Right. But do not put it all into the next thing, because you have this survivor bias. Right.
What was your second exit for?
So first one was Spheric. Second exit was Flowtown. That one I can't say publicly because it was never, we had to sign.
Was it more than the first one?
Yeah, a lot more. Yeah.
And then the third one.
The third one was less than the second one. And it was a good experience. Like that was Clarity, was that I had this thought that people would pay to get advice over the phone. And guess what? Nobody does. Dude, think about this, because you would understand this a lot because of Lightspeed.
But that's not true. Just maybe a lot of people.
I thought it was so venture-backed companies, the rule is $100 million in 7 years. That's like, if you can show me a plan to get to 100 million in 7 years, that's a venture-backed business. Other than that, just build the business. And I thought for sure this is a multi-billion-dollar. I was like, look at all the social media people, look at all these different platforms. We give them a call button, we give them a link. They have audiences, they can monetize it. Here's what I discovered, unfortunately, the hard way was if you take like even the population, there's only like 10 to 15% that are entrepreneurial. And even in the entrepreneurial space, very few are growth-minded. You think they're all reading books and going to seminars. No, it's like 2% of the 15%.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very small. And then of the people that invest even a little bit of money every year in their own growth, it's not hundreds of dollars, it's tens of dollars. And then, so really I figured out my kind of what's called the your addressable market was people that paid $1,000 or more to go to an event. So it's a market, and we could build a multi-million-dollar company off that, but we couldn't build $100 million a year company. So then we pivoted into doing corporate investing. So essentially, the people that were willing to pay $1,000 to $3,000 an hour, those were the hedge fund managers. Those were the private equity folks, right? They had a disproportionate advantage of information to make an investment. And that's what we exited on. It still exists today. Clarity, we sold it in 2014, sold it to a company called startups.com. They still run it today. It's still growing, but it just wasn't the multi-billion-dollar idea I thought I could execute. But the truth was, I built that company because I was too scared to do what I'm doing today, which is coaching. That's what's crazy.
And now you're coaching other entrepreneurs to grow and blow their business.
We've had 65 clients exit their business in the last 12 months.
Perfect. So do you get a chunk of that?
No,
you get a piece for your niece?
This is Dan the Canadian. I don't have the with the Tad for Brad or the.
Well, dude, listen, make me your partner. I'll take the cut and then I'll drive it up to Canada.
So I just announced 2 days ago my $100 million fund, and that is going to be my way to participate now. So now I've got $100 million to deploy, about $400 million in purchasing power, and we're going to buy some of these companies that otherwise.
Buy mine, motherfucker. Shit, I'll get you the ARRs.
I'll have the team to come and look at it.
Yeah. People are always like, Brad, you really want to sell? No, I be facetious when I say that. Only because, dude, I've done it 3 years.
Dude, do you know how rare that is?
Stupid.
Most people don't get past 10. It's not stupid.
And do you know all the data that I've collected over the years? Like everybody who's ever bought a course from anybody of that
you have the ecosystem.
I have names, address, and emails of millions of people that have bought courses over the last 20 years.
Like if I were to package this up,
who are interested in training.
Yeah. I would package this up as a data play, not a training company.
On top of that, I've got agreements with probably 780 subject matter experts that, quite frankly, if you ask me, only 20 to 30% of those are actually, whacking it.
Yeah.
The other 7 or 80% are underserved, meaning I could go be their social media. I could go sell them I could go sell them Keith. I could go sell them all kinds of shit, which would then cause the initial thing that they wanted to do.
To help them be more successful.
There's just so much vertical integration type stuff.
I haven't tapped into.
No, I haven't tapped into anything.
So you met Alex.
Yeah,
Hermosi.
Of course.
Okay.
I begged Alex twice to come in here and do this.
So you've met Alex, but without Layla, there's no Alex. Okay. Like this is the thing: is you are Alex, but you need a Layla. You need a strong integrator because there's no doubt in my mind that somebody can take these kind of crazy or in the cloud ideas and land them into the ground and execute would absolutely transform your business. That would, so the question to ask always is, if somebody bought my business tomorrow, what's the first decision they would make? And why haven't you made that decision? That every entrepreneur listening can ask that question.
That's a good one.
That's
what I was saying when I said sometimes I think to myself, if I bought this place, here's what I know exactly what I would do. That's the same question pretty much.
Yep.
And I just naturally was doing that. And what's crazy is when I answer myself, why am I not? It's always because it's uncomfortable. Like, quit being a pussy. Here's what I say to people. If you don't want to make the tough choices, get out of the chair. Like let someone else sit there that's willing to make those tough choices. Because I'm the reason this ain't $1 billion company, but I'm man enough to say it too.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me. Why? Well, because we all fall short, don't we? You know what I'm saying? And not only that, at the end of the day, dude, I guarantee I'm going to end up on Billionaire Row.
Yeah.
I guarantee I'll end up on Billionaire Row.
The belief is strong.
You want to wager? Because I'll never have to pay you. Because I ain't going to stop trying until I'm dying.
Yeah. And then when you're dead, then.
Hey, if you're dead, you're like, you never made it.
Yeah.
I'll be like, all right.
Yeah. Talk to my estate
attorney. I'll put it in my estate to where it pays Dan.
Yeah.
Hey, pay, by the way, if I'm not a billionaire, pay him. But if I am, track his ass down, get him to pay me.
Paid, yeah.
But yeah, is that your goal? What's your goal?
I mean, there's no economic goal, but like I'm definitely going for the multi-billion.
If right now I said, dude, I got a piece of property that's worth $44 million.
Yeah.
And I need 30 million for it right now. And I'm talking about like by noon.
Yeah.
Could you pick up a phone and have 30 million in my possession?
With a text message.
Doesn't that feel good?
Zero problem.
Yeah, but how good does that feel?
And this is the whole point, literally, and not to bring it back to my book, but empire for me is to create a life of unlimited creation you never have to retire from. And that's what your question and my answer just demonstrated that. What I've optimized for, so like the economic net worth number, the multi-billion that I'm going for, is honestly just a proxy to be able to create, to make decisions, to invest. The fund that I just did, like, it's the support things, because I just know what I love to do. And to the degree that every day I wake up and I get to do that every day, and there's no retiring, because who am I going to retire from? Can't retire from being me. So I'm just going to do what I do. And it seems like you're just going to keep doing what you're doing. So like, you either have the vehicle to do that, or you sell it, or you don't. But the amount of people I've seen exit their companies that gave them purpose and identity and structure, and then not, and this is the crazy part, not a lot of my clients that I help exit, then what do they do with that money? Right? Because they were making 20, 25% year compounded, and all of a sudden they get a payday. Me and Alex talk about this, Hermosi, because like, then you're like, shit, I don't have cash flow anymore. I got to go invest this, but you're not an investor. An entrepreneur is not an investor. Those are two different skills. And if you don't learn how to do that, you'll end up broke real quick.
Well,
so
it depends on how much money you get.
Yeah.
See, my whole thought was, just like, I can't save money, so I'll just make more than I can spend.
Yeah.
And I'll save that way.
Yeah.
So I did that. So now my money stacks up faster than me or my wife can spend it, fortunately.
Yeah.
And, but it's not stacking up fast as I'd like. So that's the exit for me. Like, dude, I could sustain this the rest of my life and never come to work, because things operate. I have several businesses. Things operate well. They're all successful. None of them are bleeding. And by the way, we took no money for this company ever. Someone, I think it was, Dan Fleischman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dan says to me one day, he goes, "How come you never raised money?" We were on a panel. And I said, "Nobody ever offered me any." Everybody started fucking laughing, because they were like familiar with raising money.
Yeah. It was like the thing to do.
Yeah. I'm not. Like, I thought, someone has to offer you some. Yeah. I didn't know to go ask for it for a reason. It's like a dumbass. That's what I'm saying, dude. If you'd have started this, I guarantee you this would be $1 billion company.
I've raised $500 million in capital myself.
I'm just worried when it comes to
control.
No, like when it comes to technology, because it is the coolest shit on the market, guaranteed, bar none. If you use it intelligently, you can't, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing out there like it.
Yeah.
It allows you to create interactive content.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to drive you through a video, and I'm not going to ask any questions or make any offers in the video at the right time, am I leaving money on the table? Yes 100%. Or no? Okay, so when you go put a video on Kajabi, it ain't asking no questions and it ain't making no offers. Yeah. It doesn't know shit. It just knows that you watched it. Dude, watching shit doesn't train you. Repetition trains you, right? Are you trying to train people? That's why a lot of times people come out with a course and people will talk shit about it. It doesn't work. When it's not the course that didn't work, it was the consumer.
Yeah.
But the consumer's not going to say that. So they just blame the
course,
the video.
Yeah.
So anyway, long story short, there's nothing like it. You can take that, but what I'm worried about is like some technology comes out tomorrow that just makes it all fucking worthless now.
It's coming, man.
I know.
AI stuff. Like, this is why I asked you.
Happens for 23, by the way.
Oh man, the amount of innovation happening right now. So I'm actually involved in the company right now, and I'll show you a demo after this where we can take your content and create a Brad AI that you ask it questions and it will answer as if with perfect memory, perfect context.
Well, let's go. Let's start feeding it with Brad Lee content.
Dude, it's easy. You literally connect all your socials and it'll do the AI. And this is not available to anybody. I'm not showing it to anybody, but I'll show it to you.
How about let me beta with you?
I'll show it to you.
Because if I could clone me, bro, I'm a billionaire for sure.
But only if nobody else can. See, that's the problem. If everybody else can, then there's no differentiation. But this can.
Oh, so what you're saying is like I could use your system, suck in Zig Ziglar and all these icons that I loved listening to. It'll automatically gurgitate, and now I've got a AI that can help me think, decide,
their
write.
way. Yeah, context. So
because I put in ChatGPT, Dan, the other day, hey, write me some sales copy for, and I described this company. And it was weaker than Circus Lemonade. Yeah. So, dude, they're like, ChatGPT is going to kill out copywriters. No, they're not. Not good ones.
No, well, here's the thing, right? So GPT 3.5, which came out in November, is 100 times better than 10 times better than the previous version. I've been coding against AI neural networks. Like, that's kind of my thing. I'm a software guy. And then the new version 4.0 that's going to come out in the next 8 months is 100 times better than GPT that we have today.
Are you a coder?
Yeah, I'm a software. That's how I saved my life in that book. Like, I ended up in rehab and I learned how to code at 17.
What kind of drugs were you doing?
I did a lot of stuff. I never really talked about it, but like speed, coke, mescaline. I never did heroin, but a lot of weed,
nothing heavy.
No, I was just addicted to not feeling.
I know, but normally when I say nothing heavy, people are like, he just said speed, coke, mescaline. That's heavy. Like to me,
no.
Those are called experimental drugs.
Yeah, it's like it was teenage type drugs. It was the people I was hanging out with. It was my.
You do acid?
Oh yeah, lots
mushrooms. Do you think acid expanded your mind? Because I
don't know.
believe
like this is
mine.
a fascinating thing. So it's kind of weird because I went to rehab at 17 and then I've been sober ever since. Right, I started drinking for a bit and then quit about 10 years ago because that wasn't a good move. And now that I've seen the research on psilocybin and ketamine for drug addiction, right? And it's undeniable.
And trauma.
Yeah, 100% trauma. I'm actually like, and I was telling Sam, my videographer, about this, like, I want to invest. And if anybody's watching, if you're open to figuring out, and it may take a while with the regulations, like I think there's a place where I create one of the largest rehab centers that is plant-based in the world. And I've never said that publicly, just because it's undeniable how quick that allows you to deal with this stuff to get you to at least a level playing field without, I mean, the amount of friggin' pills people are taking, it just blows my mind.
It does.
It's got to stop.
The other day I went and did an executive physical and the doctor said, "What medications do you take?" And I said, "None."
He must have went.
Yeah, he said, "Dude, you're 54 years old. You're telling me you don't have any medications?" I said, "I don't even know what you mean. Like I take, vitamin D and K2 and like fucking, supplements."
Yeah.
No. Do you have any medicine? I'm like, no medications. He couldn't believe it.
It's rare.
Isn't that?
Have you had Breca?
Do you have any medications?
Gary? No, zero.
I know nobody I know takes medications all day.
Maybe they do and they're just quiet about it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But he acted like everybody takes medications.
No, I think it's like 75% of the population is on an antidepressant. Like it's a real stat. Or maybe it's 55,
Dude, you know why I can never be depressed? Because I've convinced myself over the years, foolishly maybe, but convinced myself over the years that literally waking up is the most valuable thing ever.
One of my favorite.
And I get it every single morning. Yeah. So when I wake up, I smile and I think to myself, oh my God, this is freaking unbelievable. And so the day's going to be unbelievable. I can't get in a bad mood because I woke up. And so when people hear that, they're like, oh yeah, but it makes a good point. But oh yeah, sure.
No, tell them why though, because I've heard you talk about this, the millions of dollars in your bank account.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And people that follow me because this is my podcast, so I'm sure they've heard like the Brad.
But I would love for you to say it again because that is one of my favorite things you've ever shared about like how would you feel if you have and then what if you couldn't wake up?
Yeah, right now that video somebody did a resurgence on it.
It's just a beautiful
viral. And Cameron Haynes, the bow hunter,
dude, I loved his book Endure.
I haven't read it yet, but he was talking to Joe Rogan and he said. There was a guy on social media who said, and he was talking about me. So I looked at him. He's from Oregon. I'm from Oregon. So I hit him up. He started following me. I started following him. I didn't even know who he was, but he said it on Joe Rogan.
He requoted you
100% about the $1 million thing. But what he's talking about, folks, as I'm sure you've heard, I always tell people this. Look, imagine if I handed you 10 million cash. Would you be excited? They're like, oh, absolutely. How would you feel? And they start going, oh, dude, elated. I'd be like, oh, relieved. I'd be enthusiastic. All these words of positivity. And then I say, well, is waking up tomorrow worth more than $10 million to you? Well, yeah. So if I gave you $10 million, you wouldn't take it just to not wake up. They're like, no. So then you agree that waking up is worth more than millions of dollars. And they go, yes. Because if you think about it, well, yeah, obvious. Okay, well then how come you don't act like you that. Got millions of dollars every morning? Because if I walked up and had millions of dollars landing on me every day, I'd be fucking one positive son of a bitch all day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yee, come on, man. Yeah. Nothing can stop me.
Nothing.
But I don't act like that when I wake up, and that's worth more. So I'm getting something more valuable, and I'm not fucking acting like it. That's what I call it.
That's a drop. You should hit the bomb. I mean, I know you probably.
That's what I call an ingrate. Okay, so if you're out there and you're thinking, damn, that makes sense, dude, don't hate on that. Because if you hate on that, dude, you're destined to fail.
Yeah.
Because, dude, it brightens people up. You don't even have to be rich to be in a better mood and have a better, brighter life. Because it is all mindset, dude.
It is.
Like I say, perspective's key because, you could be in the same situation and be pissed and you can and literally be in the same situation and be happy, and it's just a decision. It's a perspective. I tell you about the two kids. One's rich, one's poor.
No, tell me.
They stick them in 2 rooms filled with shit. They come back
like
in an hour.
Turd shit? Okay, not toys.
Shit.
Okay.
And they come back in an hour, and the rich kid's pissed off, huddled in the corner, trying not to touch it. The poor kid's freaking playing in it and freaking going through it. And they're like, what the hell? So they ask the rich kid, what's the problem? He says, you put me in a room full of shit, man. And they asked the poor kid, you know, why are you so happy? And he said, dude, with all this shit in here, there has to be a pony in here somewhere. Right? With all this shit, there has to be a pony in here somewhere. That's just perspective. There was no pony in there, but he was happy.
Yeah.
How can you be happy and this one's mad? It's a decision. It's a perspective. That's life in and of itself. So I always tell people, like, if you can just shift your perspective, things change, like literally almost instantly, even with no money. Like, you don't have to be richer, better looking, nothing. You're just happier when you wake up in the morning because you're grateful.
You're looking at things differently. One thing because I watched an episode where you were talking about sales reps and wasting their time and not paying somebody to prospect. Cause like, I think the reframe, so people like the buy back your time, they're like, oh, it sounds nice, you have money. It's like, no, this is a belief thing. What you just said, it's a frame, right? Like, what do you think salespeople listening to this, cause I know a lot of them do, what beliefs around their time do they need to overcome? Cause you were saying that to, like, you know, you're making money, but you want to make more money, but you can just hire somebody for like $8 an hour to prospect for you. So now you're doing calls and you're not, like, what do you think stops salespeople from valuing their time or producing more?
Do you want my real answer?
I want 100% the real answer.
Because they don't think they're worth anymore.
Talk about that.
Well, they don't think they're worth it subconsciously, because all the shit they've heard and listened to and been taught and have done to themselves, and subconsciously they realize they're not worth that.
Investing in that time or
they're not worth that. Then they'd end up rich, and we don't want that.
Because it would break the belief.
No,
that
because you're not worth being rich. So I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure you don't get fucking rich. So every time you start heading the right direction, I'm going to fucking start whispering
Sabotage,
in your ear.
hand grenades.
You know, hey, dude, you can eat a donut. Fuck them if they don't like you fat. You know, hey, dude, don't worry about it. Dude, you've worked enough today. Fuck, dude. What are you going to do? Die?
You
and
hit your quota, slow down.
Yeah. And most people think your subconscious is going to be all mean to you. It's not mean to you. It fucking rubs you nice.
Soothes, yeah.
Makes you say, hey, it's okay. I don't need to hit the gym again. I've already been there twice.
You earned it. Go to have a nice meal.
Most people don't even do 2 times a week. That's twice already. Fuck it. Call of Duty time. Call of Duty, dude. We can always work out. But that's why. Because they don't think they deserve any better subconsciously. And so when it comes to time wasting, they're going to waste it, so they're not successful.
Yeah,
and believe it or not,
assassins.
Some people are afraid of being successful because of some sort of feared consequence.
Well, to me, those are complexity ceilings, right? Like even social media. So I used to have a belief, well, I don't want to have a big audience because I don't want to be bugged when I'm at an airport, right? I don't want to deal with people trying to hack my accounts.
Do you get bugged when you're at an airport now?
No, like bugged in the sense that when somebody recognized me, I'm crazy, like honored and grateful. But I used to think like, oh, I don't want to be like The Rock, or it's like, okay,
I would.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's throttle our ego a little bit, because like that isn't gonna happen overnight.
That's not true, dude. You could be like Dan Aykroyd.
Is he that? He's not that famous.
No, that was a joke.
Okay.
It was supposed to be funny.
Okay.
I always walk up to people, especially when they think they're kind of good looking.
Yeah.
And I'll say something like, dude, you look like a little bit like Bradley Cooper and, I don't know, Danny DeVito.
Like go left.
You throw an ugly one in there.
Yeah.
You know, you look like Brad Pitt and fucking Ed Asner.
Yeah. I don't know who that is, but
exactly. But anyway, my joke, that's why I'm not a comedian, bro.
I think if you worked on it,
I ain't that funny.
No, that's not true.
How old are you?
43.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Now, so the third exit was Clarity. You got rid of that, and now you have nothing. But no, you have two more
companies,
and so you still have them.
Yeah.
Why didn't you sell those?
Well, SaaS Academy is kind of like, it's my passion play. Like I just love it. Like we do big events. I have a lot. You know, we have.
How come I've never heard about it? I'm a SaaS guy.
I don't know.
Well, I don't fucking know either, but I'm a SaaS guy. Would you consider Lightspeed SaaS?
Yes. You should 100% know about it.
I've never heard of it before.
That's cool.
The only reason I know you is the people I know you, and they all say, "Oh, this guy's fucking great."
You're probably going to see a lot about it now.
You're targeting me now.
You know it.
But I am a CEO of a software.
I'm like a fat kid on cake. You're now in my remarketing ads.
Good.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't have to market to me. You just have to have someone call me and get my credit card number.
I'm not great at marketing. Like, I'm a product software guy, and all this stuff is like, that's why I met the people we know, is that I like had to learn how to present. I had to learn how to do Facebook ads. I had to learn this stuff. It's just not natural to me because like I care more about I'm more of like a business systems person. So I've gotten better at it. I mean, 100,000 subs. We've got 500,000 on TikTok. Like, we're working at it, but yeah, there's opportunity, and that's the exciting part.
Where are you on Instagram?
About 100,000.
Dan Martell?
Yeah, at Dan Martell, 2 L's Martell.
Folks, Bomb Squad, go blow it up. Go about 100,000 of us. Go.
Dude, if we can get the YouTube to get my silver on YouTube, to get that silver plaque, I would appreciate it big time.
Well, you're already at 100,000. That's when you get it.
I'm at 97,000.
Oh, so you'd rather have them subscribe to YouTube?
That would make my day, and I'll even do a contest. You name the contest, I'll pay for the prize. What are we doing?
You tell me.
Comment on YouTube. I don't know. I've never done a social media contest.
Well, you don't want to ask me because I'd say $1 million. Dan.
Okay, I was
$1 million
for
the first person. That
I was
can
thinking
get
more
him
like $1,000.
$1,000.
Yeah, Youre. So how about this? If you follow my YouTube channel and you post some clip on social media and tag Brad and Dan Martell, we'll do a drawing. Here's what I'll do. I'll give you $1,000. That's easy. I don't know. Is this breaking any laws? I don't know the US and the FCC and all that stuff. Okay. And
I'm not a lawyer, so consult one.
I'll invite you to Kelowna, BC, and I'll take you for a drive in my McLaren because I know those kids like that stuff. So I will
all they have to do is follow you on YouTube and tag you.
Post something on social media of this clip, tag both of us, and then I'll pick a winner. I'll give you $1,000 cash, fly you to Kelowna, and drive around in my McLaren.
Can you pick 3 winners? And there has to be a minimum, because what if one person does it?
Oh, there'll be more than one.
Well, you never know, bro.
Honestly, if it's the only one that does it, then game on, and listen, I'd honor that.
I wrote a book, right? Now, these are Bomb Squad listeners.
I feel like they would want...
Do they tell me how much they love the show and how it's helped them in the millions of years and blah, 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 blah. And I've asked them, all Bomb Squad, you know who I'm talking to go give me a book review. Simple ass book review. I got 371 book reviews. And by the way, I've sold probably 17,000 books.
How many downloads of the podcast? Like, what's the ratio of listeners?
I get about 500,000.
So 300 to 500,000, there's a big delta.
300, not 300,000.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I can't get them to go give me a fucking review. I don't know if they're going to go follow you on YouTube. So I'm just saying, you don't want to give $1,000 if only 3 people do it. The $1,000 is like, there has to be a certain number.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
So like, get each other to do it. So there's a big flood of people, and then out of those people, you pick 3 winners to do that with, and so now you got maybe 1,000, 10,000 followers.
Okay, well, how about I do this?
You're trying to get to 100,000, and you're at 97. You need 3,000 Bomb Squad members to go follow you. Which, by the way, dude, let's do it as a test just for fun, because I want to see if I have more influence than a pickle.
Yeah. And I think if you're involved somehow, it's almost like if we could throw a Brad carrot in there for this audience.
Here's what I should do. I should say, listen, either go fucking subscribe.
Yeah.
To Dan's, and while you're there, subscribe to mine.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I only have 190,000.
Here's the thing. They have to be subscribed to both.
Subscribe to both. But what I should say is go do this, subscribe to mine, or fucking you don't get dropping bombs ever again.
Like blacklist them.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could figure that out.
It's
like,
an IP address. You block it. Firewall it.
Yeah. Because again, if like someone asked me and I was getting value, and that's assuming I'm getting value. If I don't get no value from these episodes, well, then I'd say, fuck you, bro. I'm not going to YouTube. That's a lot of work. So if they were to think like that, it's like, I don't get any value. Good, move along. I don't mind just listeners that don't get any value. They're listeners. But the ones that do get value, you would assume there's a bunch of those.
They would support.
They would go do it, and if they don't, I'd stop doing dropping bombs. Why? Because I have no influence. If I can't get fucking 5,000 people to go get a cheeseburger on a Sunday to help me out, or buy my kids chocolate bars, or whatever I'm trying to be. Well, I was saying it earlier to somebody. Listen, dude, people call people friends all the time, and we got to start reevaluating what a friend is. Oh, he's a friend of mine. He's a fucking friend of yours? That guy doesn't give a rat's dick about you. Friends want you to win. So if I were to say, hey, Dan, you do that? Hey, can you give me a discount? How many times do friends want discounts?
All the time. And it's a pet peeve of mine.
Well, the thing is, if that's your friend, why would you want a discount? You should want to support 100%. The individual. You should damn near pay twice what they wanted just because you're my friend, bro. So if you're asking for a discount to your friend, all I'm saying is that's not your friend. Your friend would want to support you. They don't want a discount. They want to give you what you're asking or better, period. And I've had people argue this before. I posted this on social media where you get people arguing, I never want to charge my friends retail. I love my friends. It's like, dude, it's not charging them retail. It's your friends wanting to pay you retail. Like you could tell me, hey, I'll give it to you for free. Dude, if it's a restaurant or something, I don't want it free, bro. I want to come in and patronize my buddy.
But it's interesting because my wife, she does PR stuff, and one of my best friends reached out to her for support, and we're sitting at dinner and she goes, hey, he reached out, what should I charge? And I said, there's no discount. Oh, well, I don't want to do that. So it's also on the other person's side.
It is. That's the hater I was getting, is people going, I don't want to charge my friends retail.
You're right.
But it's not about you. It's about them. They are just revealing themselves as not a friend by asking for a discount. Like if you come to me, hey Brad, I'll use Lightspeed. Can I get a discount? People do it all the time, and I'm never offended.
So we need to reintroduce the word acquaintance for those people that don't want to support.
It's just a way to reevaluate the word friends, because when someone says, this guy's a friend, and that guy's not really a friend.
Yeah, it's acquaintance.
Like what friends should be
held for a certain
redefined
status. Yeah.
Friends pay retail.
Yeah.
And my favorite customers pay me the most.
I love it, man.
You know what I'm saying? If you want to be my favorite customer, pay more.
All of a sudden you make it to the top of the list.
Dude, listen, I joke, but I don't joke. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what's funny is Grant, we were talking about him earlier. I wish that was all on. Well, we got it on film. Maybe we'll splice it in.
Yeah.
But my boy Grant, he's more transactional than relational. That's the only difference. Like if he knew you only had $3,000 to your name, he honestly would say you should give it to him and study his books so you can go make a bunch more. And he'd be an asshole for not doing that. Like he's got himself convinced of that. But if I knew you only had $3,000, I would teach you for free and then say, pay me down the road when you have it. Why? Because in order to make money, motherfucker, you're probably going to need that $3,000. You can't do shit with no money. People say, that's not true. You're talking about an exception. I'm talking about the rule. The rule is, dude, shit costs money. Go get an LLC. How much that costs?
Money.
$300-$400, even if you do it yourself.
Yeah.
Then you got to do this, then you got to do that. Guys, it takes money to make money.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
It does. And what I love about what you said, and hopefully I demonstrated it on this call, because you were like, hey, why don't you come in here and I'll just hire you? And I was like, I would do it for free. Because to me, like, the whole point of making money is to have the option to decide who you want to support. Right. Yeah. And if you think it's about always capturing, a guy said to me once, he goes like, man, I'm leaving so much money on the table. And I'm like, that's the whole point. If you capture all the money on the table, you don't have any goodwill. Right. So it's actually an interesting idea.
When they find out
that
you whacked them.
Yeah.
And again, not necessarily though, because it depends on the exchange to me.
Totally.
So if I said, dude, I want $5 million, I ain't taking a penny less, but as soon as we make this transaction, I know you're going to get 15 million. Well then, dude, I want all the money and I ain't giving you 1 cent of a discount.
Yeah.
But that's because I know the outcome. A lot of these offers and claims by the gurus, there is no
deliver.
Yeah. And dude, that's, tell you the truth, one of my problems. I don't want to make big claims on social media to make millions of dollars when I know for a fact ain't gonna happen. Like I do this thing, I'll teach people how to build a brand because I built one from scratch.
That's a business you offer today?
It's a course or a thing I've done. I don't offer it, but I've done it.
Yeah.
I charge $5,000, put them downstairs in my little training center downstairs. I got about 60 leather chairs and a big old screen and it's just a private area. So $5,000 times 60, it's $300,000. I go in there for a day and I show them exactly how I do what I do. And so they can literally go do what I did. And because of my personal brand, it's allowed me to build multiple 8-figure companies in a year versus 20 years.
Yeah.
Because this is an 8-figure company.
Yeah.
But it took 20 years to build it.
Yeah.
With a personal brand, you can build companies.
What shifted for you when you figured that out? Like, like the personal brand side, because you've been teaching people.
Yeah,
like,
I was watching all of these people that I was helping build their stages.
How long ago was this? 4, 5, 6 years ago?
I'd say, no, I mean, I've been watching for a while, 12 years ago when it started coming out, but I watched them do it first, help them do it first. And I'm like, dude, I don't know why I don't do that.
Yeah. Cause you have the natural charisma to do it, that now that you're doing it just seems obvious.
Well,
right?
when you're working with a bunch of celebrities,
yeah.
Celebrity types, stars, gurus, there's a lot of egos involved. And if I'm supposed to represent you and I'm outshining you, how you feeling?
Yeah.
So for a while, I couldn't outshine.
You wanted to be back of stage, not front of stage, because you didn't want those
you
people
can't outshine the master.
Yeah.
You ever get 48 Laws of Power?
Yeah.
So I mean, like, dude, I can't, run out there and try to outshine
if
the
those
people.
are your customers.
Yeah, they'll get pissed, and a couple of times I outshine them on accident. Like I don't even try, but I do.
Yeah.
Anyway, they get all pissy. So I'm like, dude, calm down. I ain't trying to do that, and I'm not. But after a while, I just said, listen, it's not me trying to be or do anything, but I'm definitely going to get a social media presence. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I fucking started posting on social media. And for the first year, nothing really happened because I was trying to think up content like everybody else does. And then I finally told the camera guy, just film me.
Just record.
Yeah, just record me because I don't know.
You're saying shit that's interesting.
100%. So I started talking on the phone, talking to the customers and talking to the employees, and then they started chopping that up, and now it went viral. And then when I say shit about...
I think that would have been when I first got introduced to your stuff about 5 years ago.
Most girls love me because I say, and I totally believe, that if you're the dude and your wife, if she's a good wife and she's outspending your income, that means that you need to make more income. Money. It doesn't mean that she needs to stop spending. It means you need to start
step up your game.
Making more money. And dude, that video went
viral.
Husbands all over the world were forwarded that by their wives. And I went from like 9% female followers to 28%.
There we go.
But because again, I mean, I believe that that's true.
Yeah.
So your wife, when she hears that part, she'll be like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Let's let her hear just that part.
Yeah. But watch this. I literally get women mad about that.
Why?
I don't know. Because you're never going to make everybody happy. No. And at the end of the day, that's what I realized a while back. And that's why I can be me. And that's why I can say what I want to say. And if anyone's looking to liberate themselves and have the freedom and like Keith said, his whole point to, I jack off is, hey, it's freedom, being able to not worry about what you're saying, but with regard to offending people, Keith don't want to offend anybody. No, he's not out there offending. He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, the principle's the same. It's freeing. And so if you want to be free, here's what I thought. Here's how I did it. I realized you can't make everybody happy. Right? Would you agree?
So that 100% do I agree. So you're telling me that was the thing that you allowed the customers to have to deal with that, because you're like, I'm never going to be able to make you happy, and I'm not going to hold myself back from doing what I want to do just to I don't want you to be upset with me.
You can't make everybody happy. So who do I make happy? Me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, now I'll make me happy. I'll say what I want to say.
And that's translated into multiple 8-figure companies because you now have a brand.
Yeah, it led to it, I'd say. Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating?
But the brand is why.
Yeah.
Everybody listening should build a personal brand. And what I mean by that is get a bunch of followers on TikTok, get a massive attention distribution model. Like audience. If I want to get the word out on the book, I drop a podcast, 500,000 people hear it. Boom.
Should they buy that book?
That's a network.
Should they buy that book?
I would say that, personally, I say yes. Why? Dan, in my opinion, not only your book, but my book and Napoleon Hill's book and, I go down the road, Gino Wickman's book and on and Keith's book. Does he have a book yet?
Not yet.
But people need to read every book, not just yours. But yes, definitely yours.
Buy back your time.
Buy back your time. And by the way, this sounds like it's for successful people. Why? Well, because you got to have money to buy back your time, don't you?
It's actually for people at all stages. That's the big idea.
But how do you buy it back if you have no money?
Everybody makes money. They're just spending on stupid shit.
I know, but let's say I make $2,900 a month.
Yeah.
I got 4 kids.
Yeah.
And I can barely afford diapers.
Put your kids to work.
How am I buying back my time?
It's tougher. I just think that the idea of what your time is worth, so I talk about the 5 time assassins, which speaks to the belief you talked about earlier, like not feeling worthy. It's just, there's no way in the history of the world, and I'm sure you're proof of this too, that at some point you had to figure out how to trade up your time value, right? So that you had the space to become more valuable to then. Now, some people do it nights and weekends and side hustles, but there's just no, like, there's a mathematical equation of, creating an outcome, and it comes down to how valuable an hour is of your time, which is predominantly based on your skill.
It's predominantly based on how valuable you think you are.
You are the mindset.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, your time value goes up when your self-value goes up.
Now we're talking.
Telling you, it's all at the end of the day, man. We got to help people feel better about themselves and start to think better about themselves and just shift their mindset, really, to be more. I don't know. I don't want to say like optimistic, but at the end of the day, positive. Like, yeah, I'm a generally positive guy. Are you?
100,000%.
Have you always been?
No.
Back when you were doing the old drug-aroos, wasn't it fun though?
It was a lot of fun. Like, I'm happy. Like, I've experienced things most people dream about, because I got to go there. Now, the byproduct of that was bad. In the moment, it was crazy interesting and cool, and like that experience. I mean, I'm a better entrepreneur today because I grew up in that environment. Even though like people would be like, "Oh man, that sounds horrible." It's like, I wouldn't change a thing. I learned more about business and emotional intelligence and negotiating and all that stuff getting a boot camp as a teenager. But it took me a while to, what I call dark energy to light energy. It took me a while to learn how to create from a lighter energy. So I was not always as positive and energetic and optimistic, right? I used to get pissed off at people really quick. I used to, I was out there to prove my dad wrong. Like, that, my first few companies was literally, and they failed. I started at 17. It wasn't until I was 24. So I had a bunch of years of just like getting knocked in the forehead. But eventually I realized, to your point, the mindset belief, it's what changed the behavior. And then that's when things started to snowball. And then there was proof, right? It's like, it's hard for people to believe something until they see some evidence of proof in their life. Like, you do need to have faith. You need to have like faith that the step's going to show up when you go for that next step, right? Like, it's going to be there, and you just got to believe. But once you start to have proof, it's a lot easier. So I think what you do really well is you help people to believe they can take the first step, and then they can build momentum. But I to say that I had that growing up, it's not true. I definitely came with a bit of
some mindset
attitude.
shift.
I had, it continues.
I call it perspective, but same thing.
Yeah.
So you got to spend a week with Richard Branson, right?
Crazy.
Like a whole week.
Crazy.
Like every day you're hanging out with him.
Yeah, literally. I was living in San Francisco at the time. I was working on, I think, Clarity, and my buddy Dan, he had a company called Zozy. We had dinner maybe 6 months prior, and I introduced him to a guy that ended up being a good friend of his. And Richard was an investor. And he emails me one day and says, "Hey, Richard invited me and some friends to go stay with him for a week in Verbier, Switzerland. We have an extra spot. Do you want to come?" I was like, is this an April Fool's joke? Like, there's no way. I grew up, read all his books, super fan, grew up in a small town in Canada. I was like, there's no way. And it literally wasn't so we landed in Switzerland, and I get at the airport and I meet the other guests. It's Tim Ferriss. It's the co-founder of Square. It's the Brian Johnson who just sold his payment company to eBay for like $400 million. And we ended up at Richard's house, AKA lodge. It's literally a 16 bedroom, 20 staff type of place. And the next morning I'm sitting
to me, not to interrupt the story, but to me, that's what I want billions for, because I want those fucking things.
Yep. And
I want to be able to fly you in on my private jet to
go
my
get your friends to come
chalet
to you
in Switzerland.
Yeah. Like, literally, Richard Branson's a billionaire every other billionaire wants to be like, for a reason. Yes. He lives that life. And what happened was he's such a humble guy. He comes in, "Hi, my name is Richard." It's like, yeah, we know, and he just hung out with us. And more than anything, I wanted to understand, how does he live that's different? Because I think that's the thing, Brad, you talk about, like beliefs. Like, there's a way you operate at different levels that has to be fundamentally different than the previous level, or you would still have the same results.
Yep.
And I'm watching him, and this is the thing I took away. It shaped my life forever. Every morning he would have breakfast with Helen. Helen was his personal assistant. And and I got to know her because I asked her, I was like, Helen, do you mind if I ask? Because she was 33 and she was kind of our age. This is probably 2016. I said, do you mind me asking, what do you and Richard talk about when you have breakfast? And she's like, oh, well, I only bring to him, I manage his inbox, his phone calls, everything. And I only bring to him things that I don't know how to process, but it's all the demand on his time go through me. You cannot get to Richard without Helen. And he does this because he refuses to sit on board. I asked him, I was like, why don't you sit on your boards? He goes, because they're boring. It's like, so he has 400 companies. Each one has CEOs, and he has 2 CEOs that run those 400 companies. And here, you'll love this one. So while we were there, Richard's out on the patio talking to a guy. He comes in, in the morning, introduces him. He's the CEO of Virgin Atlantic. And he introduces us. His name's, I think, Richard or no, not Richard, but we're sitting there and I just said, do you mind me asking, like, why did you come to talk with Richard? He goes, oh, we just bought some new Airbus, whatever, fancy planes, and he doesn't sit on the board. And I wanted him to know how the test routes are going and all that stuff. And I go, well, where do you live? He's like, London. I was like, you flew from London to Switzerland, and like he landed in wherever the place is. Took a helicopter to Verbier, Switzerland, Geneva to Verbier, to meet with them for 35 minutes on the patio. I was like, there's levels to this. But the thing that you'll appreciate, I said, well, how did he recruit you? And he goes, I used to be the CEO at United. And I go, fascinating. He goes, that's actually Richard's process. I said, what process? He goes, all the CEOs of his companies were the COO of the #1 company in the world. So like the Virgin Cruises, it's the CEO from COO from Carnival. And I was like, that's a great way to hire. And I think a lot of people that are trying to bring in folks to like lead their departments, just go to your competitor, especially a COO, because if you're at a big company, if you're the CEO of Disney, like you got to wait till the guy leaves, right? And if if somebody's going to build a competing brand at Disney and you can come to them and say like, hey, you don't have to wait 14 years till the guy retires. You want to be the CEO of this new thing. And I just thought that idea was really cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
So that's what he taught you?
He taught me how to buy back your time so that you can do the thing only you do. And he didn't say this. I watched him do it. Essentially the way Richard lives his life. That's why he has the house in the BVIs, and he's literally got 7 homes around the world. But when he goes and spends time there, more often than not, there's groups of people that he's building relationships with. And that, like, for me, that's why I do my events. It's why when I travel, I organize founder dinners. It's like, I have my executive assistant be my Helen. Like, not because I think I'm too important. It's just, I'd rather run through the world as fast as I can, meeting with people.
How much do you pay an executive assistant?
There's what I pay and what normal people pay.
What do normal people pay?
About $75 a year. For a good executive. See, the word executive is earned by that person. It's not a virtual assistant. Like, a good executive assistant is a partner. So my partner, and she knows my life. She knows my relationship.
$10,000 a month for an executive assistant that literally follows you around.
And they buy 100% of your time. Yeah. So Helen travels with Richard. Ann lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We work remotely, but we talk for 30 minutes every day. It's actually a whole chapter in the book called Clone Yourself. Because it's the highest ROI you could possibly get from a time buyback 100%. For the cost. Yeah. It's like, but yet it's going to require you to learn a new set of beliefs and skills. But that's how you buy back your time to live a life you never have to retire from.
Or read the book.
Read the book.
Is the book all of that condensed into a book?
It is the best book. So it sits kind of between the E-Myth and the 4-Hour Workweek. Right?
So this is going to be the next one.
I think so.
When's it come out?
It's already out.
It's out right now, folks.
26,000 copies in 6 weeks.
The second you're hearing this, go get this book. Go follow him on social media. Go to his YouTube channel and subscribe.
Yeah, let's see that contest.
And then go to my YouTube channel since you're already there. Bradley TV. That's all you got to look for. Subscribe to mine. And then go buy my book. What else? What
other stuff?
Send us $5.
Yeah.
Whatever you can do to support the show. No, just joking.
Yeah, post and tag us both, and I'll pick a winner.
Alex Hormozy, right?
Yeah,
he
so
always
good
says,
at that.
"Got nothing to sell you."
Yeah, he changed that recently. I don't know if you saw that.
But you're selling me on that.
Yeah.
So you're selling no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
I always want to call Alex and be like, Alex.
He changed it. He literally did a video recently saying, "I have to change that."
Because he is selling something.
Yeah, because he's got the book, 99 cents. He's got, like he what I love about Alex is that he's such a man of his word. He's very rare in the world.
Not only that, let me tell you about Alex. That could have been planned. In other words, he's so meticulous that he said, I'm going to say I've got nothing to sell you till everybody comes around, and then I'm going to do a mini negative to build trust. And by the way, say, I can't say that anymore. Now I've got to tell you that I do have shit to sell you, which will sell more shit.
Yeah,
but they won't care because they love me by then. Like, dude, he's that freaking smart and meticulous. That could have been 100% strategy.
Part of the process.
Yeah, like when I first $100 million offer, I met him while he was writing that, and dude, there's 4. People think, well, he's just got another book coming. Dude, there's 4 coming. He already knows what they are. He already knows how they tie in. He knows, like, he's really literally executing and unfolding probably like a 5-year plan.
Oh, no. More.
10-year plan.
Yeah, maybe 25.
Yeah, smart dude.
Yeah.
And young too. That's what's cool is you don't have to be old and gray to figure it out.
I started coaching them when they were 28.
Layla's smart too. So he got lucky.
Layla, she's the only, like, I asked for Layla's blurb. If you notice in the back of the book, Layla's on there. Not because Layla is just such a, she understands things at a level. Like, I think this, and this is a big thing for people to understand is finding a number 2 or finding a complementary person, right? It's the yin and the yang. Like, a good executive assistant should be the opposite of you, not a buddy, right? Because an opposite of you is going to fill the gap.
An opposite of me would be organized.
And it's called the Colby test, Colby ACE. You can do it, and it's literally, it'll tell you if this person is the opposite of you.
Shrewd.
Yep, all that. A deal maker.
Because I'm shrewd in ways, but again,
maybe too generous.
I'm too generous, and I'm also like too. I like to say kind-hearted, so it sounds good, but really I want to say like too much of a pussy. Like in other words, like I don't really want to freaking get in confrontations with people and fire them and fucking hold them accountable. And so I'd just rather get someone that can do that without any remorse whatsoever. But
my
like, if I fire an employee, dude,
will fire people.
When I fire an employee, or when I have in the past, I literally feel like shit for a week. You got to think they're going to go home. They got to tell their family they got fired, which makes them now look and feel like a loser. Because who the fuck gets fired except fucking losers? So it's like, they didn't get laid off. You can get laid off without being a loser, but if you get fired, you're a loser. How do I know? Because I've been fired a million times. Dude, I used to get fired all the time, but I wouldn't care, and that's why I got fired. And that's why I should have been fired. Looking back, I was always fired for cause, man, because I didn't give a fuck about the company. And there's a lot of people out there right now. I tell people this, Dan, listen to this. I say, listen, what if I could show you in your organization, no matter how big it is, who is disengaged and is not truly on your team? What if I could point those out with 100-degree
like the
certainty?
Quiet quitters? That's what they're called, quiet quitters.
What if I could show you the quiet quitters? Would that be valuable for people? Yes or no?
1,000%. What are you telling me?
Let's put this in a deal to where me and you go do this.
You got some software?
Yes, it's called Lightspeed.
Cool.
All we do with Lightspeed is, if you want to see who's on your team, you walk into a meeting, you call them all into a meeting, virtual or live, it doesn't matter. If there's thousands, it doesn't matter. You bring everybody in, you go, look, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys working here so much. We went out and developed a library of content that's going to get you paid more. It's going to get you freaking more valuable to the clients, your family. It's unbelievable what this is going to do, but this is your passport to elevating yourself as a human in your entire life. Enjoy. Here's your passwords. And then 3 days later, press the button and see who logged in and looked at it. Because if you did not log in after that, you're a fucking idiot, dude. And that is a time waster. That is a freaking, what'd you call them?
I don't know.
The quiet quitters.
Quiet quitters.
That's a quiet quitter.
Yeah.
If I don't give a shit after that, you just gave me something that'll do that, and I'm not even interested in looking. Dude, trust me, clip that person.
Dude, but that's like a lot of the workforce.
It doesn't matter. Do you want to see or not?
I'm actually fascinated by the data, because I'm just worried that with any group of teams, there's people that will just inherently feel like the other person's doing the heavy lifting, so they slow down.
Dude, all I know is, like, if you did that exercise
and nobody logs in or don't engage,
and it's not if no one does, because people will.
They will.
I would. Would you?
Yeah, but again, it's like
no. If I told you, dude, this is where you get pay raises, and remember, you're my employee. You're not some entrepreneurial.
Especially if
So you're an employee. You're working there. You've been there 9 years, whatever. If my boss ever said that to me, I'd have said, that's going to get me paid more? Shit. I'd be logging in to see what's what. Now, at least log in, but not logging in at all.
It's an IQ test.
Dude, that's a dead giveaway. You're a quiet quitter. So I can literally show people. All they have to do is get Lightspeed.
And then they have to hire an HR manager to fire half their team.
Dude, and that's the thing. Most people don't want to be, what do you call it? Like, that's my problem. I'm too nice. I don't want to fire a bunch of people.
You have a lot more empathy than I might have assumed prior to meeting you. It's actually really cool.
Well, I believe empathy is one of the top traits of a top salesperson.
Yeah.
But I do, and I think that's my weakness. So I'm looking for someone to eventually just run all my companies as well. Right now, I have what I call operating partners. I don't have them for 2 of the companies. So two of the companies I'm running.
Yeah,
so I'm literally reading your bio where it's like you're running 2 8-figure companies. Like, so am I. And then you're like, well, ask me how I did it. How do you do it?
So I literally interviewed a CEO. I hire CEOs. I hire great operators.
Dude, the ones that you almost want, but they don't quite cut it, send them over here, man. Maybe I'll like them.
But a lot of those, if you think about it, Brad, like it's so situational that like these are people that are gainfully employed, and I'm pulling them away.
You're stealing them.
Yeah.
I always tell people, dude, if they're applying at your office, if they're applying at your office, it's probably not the ones you want. The real employees you want are already working. You want to literally lure them away from another company.
There is no other way.
And like, you do that by this.
Yeah. And no, it literally, that's number 5 out of the reasons.
Really? What's the number 1 reason they'd come?
Freedom. The freedom to do the thing they know that they could do, but they'll never be able to do within their current company.
So if I went to somebody, let's say and when people, I'm a founder mentality. So when someone says, who's your competition? Well, I don't fucking have any. There's nobody that does what we do, which is true. Yeah. I mean, it's true.
Yeah. The specifics is true, but are there people in a category industry?
So in that case, Kajabi, Teachable, Thinkific, things like this.
So who's the COO of those companies? Who's been the COO of those companies? Where are they now?
Right, so I need to call them and say, listen, we're a little known company that's doing shitloads for a long time. And in fact, your whole company started because of me. In other words,
I may know your guy.
Good.
Yeah. Literally came from the industry. But here's the key.
But if I started in 99, Dan, think about it. This existed in 99. Interactive videos in 99.
I know. I asked you if you're distributing on CDs, and you said CDs nuts.
Well, I started out with fucking interactive
you did have
CD-ROMs.
Okay, perfect.
CD-ROMs in the very beginning.
Yeah, because like there's no way that people are downloading videos to watch training in 97, 98 off for
98, 99. They weren't. No. I built DVDs, but the DVDs got scratched. I started the company 2000.
So you started with DVDs.
The DVDs started to get scratched. People wanted them replaced. I said, okay. There was no accountability. So eventually I said, I got to figure out how to get this on the internet. So I went out and found people to build me the first version of Lightspeed. In 2000, we were at trade shows selling access to it, and it was still being built. But we were selling access to this coming soon software
like pre-selling
platform. Trying to.
Love it.
And then we built the first version, and then the DVDs obviously went, or the CD-ROMs, they weren't DVDs, but they went by the wayside because now we're online. We were the only ones online. There was no other platforms offering what we were offering that I knew of, or I bet you existed.
Not in those days.
So that would mean, theoretically and technically,
you were the first.
I'm the father of online training.
Position it.
Yeah, I don't want to say I'm the grandpa, but I am the first one, first mover. But first movers are never the ones that get the big doughs. You know what? The middle movers are always in the better position.
Second. Yeah, somebody has to prove out the market. The key, though, this is for everybody listening, Brad, is you want to hire an outbound recruiter.
Well, Kajabi got valued for $2.2 billion.
Yeah, I know that whole space because I've coached a lot of these CEOs.
Like, dude, if that platform, and I'll show you a signature.
You could even do a SPAC and go public. Have you ever thought of that?
When we walk out of here, I'll show you a signature of the founder of Kajabi. Signed my wall because I had him on the podcast, and it says Kajabi is cool, but Lightspeed is better.
How did you get him to write that?
Because I showed him Lightspeed.
Oh, and okay. He wanted to write that. You didn't hold him there physically.
No, I showed him Lightspeed, and then I said, "Hey, you forgot to sign the wall," and that's what he signed. I'm like, dude, that's right on. But it is better.
Yeah, but sometimes better products. This is the thing. They require distribution.
And not only that, it requires education.
Yeah.
It requires education. Like, why would you use interactivity? Most people be like, I don't know, it's more engaging. No, because you can ask questions and make offers. And then they go, oh my God, that is smart. And then I say, okay, so go ahead and do it. And then they go, what questions should I ask? What offers should I make?
Yeah, they need the customization or the setup.
They need those services.
Yeah.
So again, that's what I'm saying. Like 80% of my customers, dude, they don't know necessarily how to make a badass interactive video, but they got a badass interactive video maker right in front of them.
Yeah.
It's like sitting in a Ferrari listening to the stereo, waiting on the bus. You know, so you can get somewhere. Like you don't realize that's a fucking Ferrari, bro.
Yeah.
That thing starts.
Yeah.
And you can drive that as
It'll
well.
go.
So I need not only a CEO that understands, you know, where we want to go, or at least my vision, but also one that realizes where we are.
But
because dude, if I didn't sell any more customers, Dan, and just focused on the ones I have, I could make 20, 30 million more
revenue retention
this year.
That's revenue retention.
Yes.
Yeah.
Easily, by the way, not even very difficult.
But I'd be open to doing this for you. You need an outbound recruiter that is going to go talk to those 15 people, warm them up, and then get you on a call to close them.
Yeah.
And I got a guy named Dane. He does it for me. It's just you actually, most people have never heard of like hiring a recruiter that actually makes a short list of people, reaches out, figure out where they're at. And
like a headhunter.
Yeah, they're headhunter, but they're outbound. They're not like, it's an executive headhunter. And you know, do you pay 20% of first year salary, but there's a 6-month guarantee. And it's like, sometimes people don't want to spend money because it's like, oh, that's expensive. It's like, how expensive it to not have that person.
Well, to me, why I am apprehensive of stuff like that is because, like, dude, if I'm a headhunter with ethics and integrity, then I'm going to go out and do the job. But if I'm a headhunter that can just find someone to take the CEO job, like, dude, I'll get them lined up over here to take the CEO job. No. The problem is can they do the CEO job?
Yeah.
Dude, I'll start you at $50,000 a month. You know, you want the gig? Fucking, they'll line up, dude. Yeah. I'll do the gig. But can they do the gig is the question. If they don't have that experience, they're not the ones that are going to come here and say, Brad, get out of the way and let me do this. Well, then a headhunter, you'd waste your money.
Here's the way to solve that. It's called, and it's in my book, it's called Test First Hiring. All C-level, director levels that I hire, we start with a 60-day consulting engagement, even if they're working somewhere else. So while they're working somewhere else, we can work part-time on a project. And the first project, the first project is literally come analyze our business and tell us what you think we'd fix. And if they present that to you, you go, that's a bunch of bullshit. You just avoided a dud. So like it's literally in my book because I think even recruiting is such an important part of buying back your time. But you bring in the right person and they come on as a CEO. And honestly, everybody's done this. Steve Jobs did it with Tim Cook. Zuckerberg did it with Sheryl Sandberg. Like this is a pattern that's been replicated.
Bring them in and say, tell me what you would change.
That is the test project for directors and above.
See, folks, one last nugget for you.
Let's leave it on that.
Dan, appreciate you coming in. We're going to have you back if you're ever back in Vegas.
I'd love that.
I know we can talk about a million more things. Folks, go to his website, buybackyourtime.com at Dan Martell. That's Martell on all social media except TikTok. It's Dan V Martell. And as always, until next time, keep shit real.